Hey everyone, let's get straight into my reaction to episode 10 of Love is Blind Argentina. The episode begins with Florencia and Jose Luis's wedding. Jose Luis first wants to read a letter to Florencia before giving his response, and he basically told her that he loved the adventures they shared together and how she was so wonderful and funny and intelligent. But then he said, however, I've tried to listen to my heart and make the right choice. And that word he used, however, it really threw me off and made me think he was going to say no, but then he ends up saying yes. Then it's Florencia's turn, and she also wants to say a few words before giving her answer. She says this experience has been the most special and transformative of her life, and he gave her the most beautiful love story she could have imagined, and that she's taken all the beautiful moments and their challenges into account. She then said, I'm sorry, but my choice is no, and my jaw just hit the ground. But then she said, no, I can't imagine being without you. Of course I do. So, like, wow, she literally had us in the first half. The two are pronounced husband and wife. I have to say, I was slightly surprised Jose Luis said yes. I genuinely believed that Florencia's constant need for validation would be too overwhelming for him, but that didn't seem to be the case. I was also a little surprised that Florencia said yes because she'd be relocating her life to be with him, and there were like many times where it felt like his affection just wasn't enough for her, like she kept wanting more. But in the end they chose each other and it worked out for them. I still do worry that at some point Florencia's needs might become overwhelming for Jose Luis, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in the reunion and if they're still together. Moving on to Julie and Ezekiel, they have their final date, which is riding go karts, after which they sit down to hash out any problems they might have now that the wedding is literally around the corner. He asks her what she doesn't like about him, and she says that he tends to get upset easily, like he's blowing things out of proportion, but he tells her it's the other way around, and Ezekiel says he likes to talk things out, whereas she avoids doing that, and I agree with him 100%. She definitely has a hard time opening up, and she admits it too. She says she can be stubborn at times. He tells her that he always tries to look out for her and put her needs first, which is new for him. And she tells him that she thinks he's a great man, that she can picture a future living together as a couple, and she tells him she loves him. It was a surprise hearing Julie say this because we know it's difficult for her to open up, so I saw this as a really good sign for them as a couple. It shows that they've had some growth in terms of their communication as well as their feelings towards each other. The big day finally arrives, and Julie gets to see her wedding dress. I think we were all holding our breath because we didn't know if she'd reject it or not, but thank God she ended up loving the dress. I actually also liked her dress. It seemed a little plain at first, but I think she pulled it off really well. It was simple and modern, so I liked it. Meanwhile, Ezekiel's brother joins him in the dressing room and he asks him what their parents think of all this. Ezekiel chose not to tell his parents about everything because he thought they'd become overwhelmed by the exposure and the cameras, and his brother tells him that they support him. I felt sort of worried that maybe his parents not coming to the wedding might mean he wasn't going to say yes at the altar, but at the same time, he and Julie both have strained relations within their immediate family, so with that in mind, it seemed less worrisome. They both end up saying I do at the altar. I was most surprised by the growth shown by Ezekiel, and he even said it himself earlier that it was new for him to be looking out for Julie's needs because he wasn't that type of guy to do that before. So it was really nice to see him make it to the end with Julie and also see her become more comfortable with him to the point where she could tell him that she loved him. So I was happy with their story coming to a happy ending. Now, my least favorite couple, Mari and Maria. They have their final date at an Asian restaurant, and Maria tries to bring up the topic of relocating because she says after the wedding she might have to. But Mari cuts her off and tells her that they'll figure that out later and that they should focus on the present. I was rolling my eyes, guys. Like, I really feel for Maria. She wants to sort out serious topics, and relocation is a huge one. So for him to shut her down on that and I'm sure many other things, was just really frustrating. It felt like he wasn't being serious. From his perspective, though, he thinks that figuring things out too soon might put too much on their plate, and instead they should concentrate on what it's like to experience life together in the present. He says in his interview that Maria always wants to be several steps ahead because she worries about their new home and her job, but they'll work it out and there's no rush. This is just another example of how the two of them are just not a good match. Their personalities and lifestyles are just too different, and it's painfully obvious. When they get to the altar, Mari reads her a heartfelt letter and basically says, I do. I was shocked that he said I do because I genuinely believed he'd say no, but he surprised us. The biggest plot twist happened when Maria said no. She starts off by reading him a letter, and at first it was sweet and touching about their good times, but then she brought up the difficult times and all the frustrations, and then she says, no, I don't want to. I can't accept you as my husband. I'm sorry. I wanted to give her a standing ovation. I was so proud of her for finding the strength to walk away from this man because their relationship was genuinely toxic with the way he made her feel about herself. He was just standing there smiling at her, and then they hugged and he walked away. Maria said in her interview that she wishes their relationship could have worked out, but she wants someone who listens to her and values her for who she is inside and out. She didn't believe their relationship could be healthy. She says it was difficult to say no, but she believes it was the right decision. Yes, girl, it was absolutely the right decision. She also talks about how the signs were always there, going all the way back to the pods and the resort, too. And she's right, they had too many differences throughout their relationship. I wondered why she waited till the very end to walk away from him. And I think it's because she might have still held on to some hope that they could make it work, but when she took a step back and really assessed their relationship, she realized that it just wasn't going to work long term. And I'm more surprised at Maori saying yes than Maria saying no, because throughout the entire series, he just gave me the impression that he wasn't that into her. There was always something about her that irritated him or he didn't like. So when he said I do, I was just confused. Again, I'm really glad Maria had enough sense to end it, even if it had to be at the very end. Better late than never. A toxic marriage would not have been worth it. Okay, now let's go to Santiago and Emily. They have their final date and they discuss the argument that they were having in the last episode. It's left Santiago with mixed emotions and he feels a distance between them, so they focus on talking through their feelings since the wedding is literally the next day. They both agree that they struggle to communicate well with each other, and he admits that he has a short fuse that he'll work on handling. This couple is very passionate when they're in love, but also when they fight, and I was a little worried that they wouldn't make it to the end, but thankfully they do. Both of them said yes at the altar, so that was a relief. Outside their misunderstandings, they appear to be a good match for each other and genuinely seem to care about each other, so I had no problem with this couple working out. The next episode will be the reunion, so I'm really looking forward to seeing if all the couples remain together. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to stay tuned for my reaction to the reunion. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.